Well, good morning, top of the morning. It's almost afternoon. And today is Tuesday, February the 16th. And first of all, you may notice I have a sling on. I broke my wrist last weekend. So it's been hurting. I also hurt my ribs. So I've been kind of in pain. But I've got this together. I'm right-handed and I have to write out my notes, had to write out my notes left-handed. But first of all, I've made a change of policy. I am going to allow late work now up to 1 week after the due date. However, it's only going to be for 50% of the value. So you still want to be on time. It is a pretty big penalty to get late work. Okay, now I'm going to make this retroactive to last week. So assignments that were due the 14th, if you did not get those in, then you have until the 21st. So that's how that will work. 1 week after the due date for late work for half credit. All right. So this week you'll have your module, Internet Basics, your research module. So that'll be due Sunday the 21st by 11:59. And another announcement I wanted to make is that several students last week messed up on their Bedford assignments. You need to read carefully on the prompt for the Bedford assignments and make sure that you have the correct chapters. So a few people, for example, it was 4, 5, and 6, and you were supposed to do the chapters designated for that, not chapters 4, 5, and 6. So be sure that you read which chapters for the Bedford entries. Okay, our big assignment this week is the next essay, the process essay. And when you look at the process essay online, on the Canvas, you'll see that it goes like this. We have all learned to do things pertaining to sports, work, hobbies, and so on. We have also learned to make things through building, crafting, cooking, etc. The list of what people can make or do can seem almost endless, and many of these things are associated with meaningful times or warm memories with friends or family. That's the background. So writing directions. Choosing something you know well how to make or do, write a 5 or 6 paragraph essay that explains the steps to this process clearly from beginning to end. Include preparation for the process and the end result of the process. Now, this essay is going to be written first person, just like your narrative essay. Okay, so it's something you know how to do well, how to make, and to tell the story in first person. It is important that your essay includes a discussion of the significance or meaning that this process holds for you, and you're going to discuss this thoroughly in the conclusion and touch on it in the introduction. Guidelines, again, I want to make sure you all know the MLA specifications. This essay is to be typed, double-spaced, with 1-inch margins, 12 font with a creative title, and your heading and header, you need a heading and header on this. And you can look at the sample essay on page 127 of Bedford and look in the upper left-hand corner for the heading. That'll be your name, my name, the class name, and the date. Then the header, that's upper right, and it'll be 1, 2 with your last name. Like header 1, header 2. If you go 3 pages, header 3. Hopefully your essays don't go much over 3 pages, but make sure they are at least 2 pages long. Okay, here's a possible format for a process essay. And this is how to do an oil change. And you might think, well, is that really enough to write an essay about, but it can be. Most of your topics may have a little more to them. Okay, so you start out with an introduction. Well, you start out with your heading, header, and title in the upper middle, and then you're going to do an introduction. You'll tell where and when you learned how to do an oil change, and briefly where and when do you do them. You should touch on the significance, why you do an oil change, for example, to save money, other things like learning from your dad, being kind of a family thing. Okay, and then you state a thesis at the end of the introduction. The thesis for a process essay is pretty easy. It's pretty clear. Basically, you're going to say there are 3 or 4 major steps for in changing the oil of my vehicle or of your vehicle, if you want to say that. But you're talking about your own changing of oil. Okay, then the body of the essay, 3 or 4 paragraphs, no less than 3, no more than 4 usually. Sometimes you can go 5 paragraphs if your essay is really longer. And the steps, you'll want to kind of a topic sentence for each paragraph. So you say, for example, you say when you start out to do an oil change, you have to prepare for it. And that is to get a place to do it and to get all the necessary materials, like a pan to drain the oil, a wrench to open the oil change plug, the oil pan plug, and so on. So you start out with a kind of a preparation paragraph. Then you go major steps for paragraphs 2 and 3, 4 if you do it. If you do 4 steps. When you read diving into a dumpster, the author called the steps stages instead of steps. And you can say that too if that works better with your essay. Okay, the last thing of your essay is going to be the concluding paragraph. And again, as in the narrative essay, you're going to discuss significance thoroughly, telling why this is a positive thing for you, like saving money, the memories that it brings up, and so on. So introduction, body, and conclusion for the oil change. And that's basically it. And if you have any questions, you can write them up on the chat box that's should be to your right on your computer. Are there any questions? Well, I'm not seeing any questions on the chat box. This is a process essay, is one of the easier essays we'll do for the semester. It's pretty straightforward. Just remember your significance, because significance is what really makes the paper an essay, rather than just a how-to essay on doing something. Got to have your significance in there and organize it well. Okay, if there are no more questions, this has been recorded, so you can go back and listen to it. And we'll be sure to make that change on last week's assignments, so you can get them in still up until next Sunday, the 21st, for 50% off. Okay, have a good week.